Good morning, Houston. This is Oscar Hines. Welcome to the Morning Edge here on the Edge Radio Network, 1540 AM, 101.7 FM. It is fabulous to have you in the house this morning. How are you, Miss Tressa?
I am amazing.
Yes, you are.
I'm jazzed.
You are absolutely amazing. I have to say, when you're jazzed, I feel that jazzational energy. You know, when that starts to happen, I start getting the heebie-jeebies.
And I'm not even a morning person.
Oh, well. So, you know, I decided since you all shamed me yesterday for wearing my chateau, I would put on my disco vest today in honor of this conversation.
You know what? He tells his age every day with these vests. It's a different vest.
Oh, my. Yeah, I'm proud of my age. I ain't got nothing to hide. You know, it's all good. Well, in the house this morning, you've got some gentlemen that we would like to introduce. I'm excited to be able to continue to see the incredible talent in Houston. So who do we have visiting with us today?
I got two comics. So I got veteran comic Adam Bob.
What's up? Wait, hold on. I'm sorry. Wait, I got to Matt because the brother. Thank you very much for having me on the show today. I don't want to use my real voice. It don't sound. Brother had too much energy. I like that. Thank you very much.
And I got Harris Sayani also.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Wow, that was a contrast. So, but I would tell you, man, I used to always like go to these networking things, and they'd give you the microphone, and I'd say, good morning, and yes, I do have my radio voice on. And after that, everybody was like, you're the radio guy, aren't you? Like, damn, Skippy.
They eat it up.
Hey, look, hey, voices in. So, man, it is good to have you guys here. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourselves? Let the audience know who you are, sort of what brought you to where you are in this space in comedy.
Oh, God, why me first? All right. Man, I don't even have a very long life to talk about. I'm 27, came to the U.S. when I was 5. Parents were poor, pretty typical, immigrant story.
Typical.
I mean, things worked out for me a little bit. Went to college, got a job afterwards. Made a couple dumb decisions, comedy being one of them, and it's been a really fun one. It's been a lot of fun, honestly. What else can I say? I'm looking forward to the rest of this year.
And how long you been doing comedy now?
2.5 years.
2.5 years.
Things are really picking up. Now there's like weekly shows at Secret. There's also The Riot, which I'm running with another comic, and like. Man, things are just good. All my problems are dumb, Like, it's kind of great.
Your problems are dumb.
Yeah,
I felt like that this morning because I've been interviewing for this TV show and since February. So I got a final interview today, and there was a leak. There's a leak in my ceiling, so where I have to be. I had to move the furniture around, and I was, I'm pissed off. You know what I mean? And I'm just like, are these like white people problems? Like, are these like real? Because I'm like, because it's like not a real problem. You have a leak because you may not be able to, or could be, because you can't, interview for this. It's a Skype interview that I have to do. So where I'm supposed to sit, the leak is right there.
Oh wow! So you have like an empty bucket, just thong.
Yes. So then I'm like putting like a towel. I'm like, okay, if I put the towel in this pot, can you hear the thing? It was just, I'm like, this is probably not a real problem.
That's the kind of problems I have, and I love it. Right. I love it. If those are my problems, oh man, life is good.
There you good.
I mean, a leak in the ceiling, that's a problem. Yeah. I mean,
it's going to be fixed because it's an apartment. So they're going to come and fix it. But I'm worried that they're going to try to fix it while I'm on call. I have to be on call for this interview from 2 p.m. to 7 to go through all the executives for for this network.
I would move the camera. the camera.
Well, I did. I had to move the furniture, but then I can't. it's not. If I go to my second floor, it's just not going. I don't think it's going to
Just
work.
saying, you gotta
And you
get
see what I'm
creative.
saying? I got a second
That's
floor.
what-
Some people don't even
yeah.
have a second floor. It's like these real problems.
So well, it's a good problem to have because you're having the conversation with the executives. So I'd focus on that outcome. So tell us about you, my brother. What you ain't getting off the hook there.
No, because
After he did the radio voice, he was done. He was going to go.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm gonna go back to sleep. I appreciate you. No, I got real problems. I got an ex-wife, kids, a leak in the ceiling. Let me tell you about this child support.
I got an ex-husband. Now I have child support, but I got an ex-husband too. You know that he asked me back for the child support. That he asked me if I could give it back to him.
Are you serious?
Oh
Yeah.
wow!
Did you?
No.
Oh.
No. He
Wow.
filed his taxes and forgot that he had back taxes. So all of that went to me for the back taxes. So he called me and was like, "Hey, do you mind if you cash app me?" Hell no.
Cash app you. You said you didn't pay for my baby. So you got real problems.
I got real
you got
problems.
Child support problems.
Yeah, this is everything. Yeah, but no. I'm originally from California. Came out here to go to attend Prairie View A&M University, where Prairie View produces productive people. I just have to put
There
that
you
out
go.
there.
Hey, rock on, brother.
In the house.
And then did corporate for a while, and then started doing comedy about 11 years ago. Damn, I am a veteran. Dang, that's weird.
Because the thing about comics, like really a lot of the veterans don't consider you an actual comic until you 10 years in. And it's also about being, booked as a headliner at the Improv and at, major, all the top comedy store and everything. Like you're not, but 10 years?
Yeah.
Just like some of the other guys that I'll eventually bring in that have careers on the Carnival cruise ships. These are 6-figure salaries that they're making. Yeah. But you're not going to just be able to do that under 10 years. They're not even going to allow you to even interview for something like that.
Yeah. Well, first of all, you're talking about these Carnival Cruise 6-figure cats. Don't just gloss over me. This girl ain't been on a cruise. I got 6 figures. Now, if we count the figures behind the decimal point, yeah, I got 6 figures.
Right. I got that.
So when did you first get in front of an audience and just killed? What were you talking about and you just killed it?
So the very first joke that I ever did that actually killed was I had a joke about Joel Osteen. It was a impression I did with Joel Osteen, and then I threw in an impression of TD Jakes, and then went back to the Joel Osteen, and then boom.
I'd love to hear some of that.
Man, I haven't done it in years. I don't even know if I could do the impression and stuff. But it was really just about how Joel always calls his wife. So it was like everything he said. It was like me and my wife, Victoria. This, that, and other. And I talked about basically I said what did I say that you can go to his service on Sunday, but you're going to have to hit Bible study on Tuesday because, he preaches without really preaching. That's what I used to say. So I said, what did I say? That he would peruse through the Bible. And I was like, look, real preachers don't peruse through the Bible. Can you see TD Jakes perusing through the Bible? And then his part is where I talk about TD stuttering. And he can't say the word peruse. Like, I'm going to peruse. Just open up your Bible. But it's more to the joke and everything. But that was it. And then it shocked me. Like, it literally shocked me when I saw people, like I saw, comedians getting up and holding their stomachs. I'm like, what just happened?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Y'all wasn't supposed to laugh like that. I don't know. But
something excellent just happened.
Yeah, so that was like the very first joke that was like one of my first jokes I ever wrote, but that was one that just
I love that, man. I love that. I love a comedian that has the ability to take you on a journey, on a story that you get lost in.
Right.
And along the way, there are all these little side angles that you could just take and, hype up and make it funny and then come back to the main story. But by the time they get to the end and they kill it, that to me is my favorite. I've gone to the Improv. We've talked about this where I've just effing this, effing. And after that, I'm like, there's no talent there. There's just a bunch of expletives. And so it really requires a lot. So I applaud that. So now let's talk to our brother here. Now I want to find out this because when I was talking to Enrique Chicon, the Latin lover, the pat of the Spanish community, and I love that kid. He's funny as hell.
Yeah.
He said that whatever racial sort of background you're from, you get a pass. So do you make fun of your people? Where are you from, and what?
So I'm from Pakistan. Came when I was 5, so I don't really remember much about it. But that doesn't mean people let me forget that I'm from there.
Yeah.
So you know,
What
you go
are
up
you?
there.
Do you get that? What are you?
Yeah, they're like, "What are you?"
What are you?
I'm like, "Man, it doesn't matter. I don't care. I'm a human for starters. Let's start with that."
Right.
And then you're probably gonna think I'm Indian, which fine, close enough.
Right.
Historically, you're right. I mean,
Right.
last 70 years you've been wrong, but otherwise, you're right. And I get it because I didn't like the war either. So okay, I get it.
Right.
No, occasionally I'll talk about like, you know, my background and stuff, but I'm trying to like get away from that. I'm trying to get into more like absurd material and just things.
Like shock material?
Not shock. No, actually, like how you said the effing and how you hear that at the improv sometimes. Like 6 months in, I decided I'm not going to use any swear words because that's just going to hinder my ability as a like at least for now.
Starting out without doing that is amazing. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? Like
yeah.
that, like to start out and to write completely clean, that opens the doors. People don't like it in some cases, but they don't want to admit it. Some comics don't want to admit it, but you can do so many other gigs because of it.
Yeah.
And it does take a more intelligent person to do it.
Yeah.
Because I'm probably not that smart because I'm on. But seriously, go ahead.
I wanted the creative constraint of like having to be clean, but also I wanted like, well, Brian Regan is a beast and he never swears. And like, don't get me wrong, Chris Rock is also a beast or whatever.
Right.
But like, that's cool. That I could show my mom, you know, and like,
And make her
that's
proud.
not important for everyone, but that's important for me.
Were your parents mad at you deciding to go into comedy, or as long as you have your number
You
one,
should be
your
a
day
doctor.
job?
That's so I was trying to explain this to one of my friends, and I think I like nailed it with this analogy. You guys remember the TV show The Simpsons, right? Okay,
Of
Lisa,
course, remember.
Lisa, of course, best show ever. Lisa always maintained good grades, and no one really worried about what she did because she maintained good grades, whatever. Bart did not do that. He always got in trouble, never maintained good grades. For the most part, I managed to do both. So that's why, like, my mom, dad left a long time ago.
Okay.
That's why I'm gonna be a good comic. But
And that's why we as black people accept you. I'm sure. Stop.
Crazy.
but what was I saying? Right. So, like, my mom, like. What was I just saying?
You were talking about it. You
Your
said
dad
you've
left
done
and
both.
Right. So
Yeah.
like I've done the Lisa side where I've maintained good grades, gone to college, kept my nose clean. At the same time, dude, I'm out having a good time, you know. I'm still doing stupid stuff. As one
So it
should.
would be dumb.
As one should, you know,
Right,
like, and I don't mean
right.
stupid stuff like just partying. I mean stupid stuff like taking risk that people should take at a young age,
Okay.
like doing stand up.
like doing stand-up.
Stand up is a risk, or
investing
like
in something.
I tried to start a company, failed massively, but like.
Right.
Fuck yeah, you should do that.
Right.
Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, we
But, like,
are
you should do
FCC
that. My bad.
approved.
My bad.
Until right now.
But like, you should take those risks early because you know, if one of them works out, ooh, you're set.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, you know, every single thing that we do, and I tell my kids this all the time, it's part of a journey. And you're going to learn from each experience. So, you know, when you make the mistake, that massive failure was not really a failure, but it's going to prepare you for something else.
Right.
You know, I'm a big advocate, especially in your generation, of telling you to go back to this old book. It's called The Alchemist.
Yeah.
And it is a great read. It's based on like the biblical times, and it's a journey.
Right.
But it puts in perspective something that all of us figure out when we got gray hair.
Right. Period.
That the joy is right in this moment.
in
you know,
this like
moment.
be present in like whatever it is that you want to do, because you know at 42 you don't want to just be now at 42 starting a business that you wanted to start 20 years ago. Now, if you are ready, then fine, go ahead. But yes,
hey, the Colonel started his business at
know?
60 plus years old. Kentucky Fried Chicken was started when he was in his 60s.
And it was successful once he died. Didn't
Yeah, he watched. Well, he knew it was going to launch.
Okay,
but it was like Moses. He got to the promised land. He saw a bunch of chickens,
and that was it.
Down in the valley that he never got to go down there and eat.
To eat.
No, yeah, he died before it really blew up.
Well, I heard they wasn't real chickens, though.
No.
I don't know what was in that valley.
Right. It was like a whole bunch of
salamanders and.
Now, Adam, you raising 2 girls.
Yeah, 18 and 16.
Oh, bless your heart.
Yeah. So the 18, I gotta brag a little bit if y'all don't mind.
When they were much younger. So I met you, they were 13 or so. That's crazy.
So what's so funny? It's a lot of comedians. Like I just posted my daughter's graduation picture and like the Nietzsche's of the world and all that because we all started together. Like those are the babies from back in the day. Like. So the 18-year-old just graduated from high school, 4.1 GPA, drum major of the band.
Okay.
Got a scholarship. She got over $100,000 in scholarships. We're not paying for nothing. No, we still gonna come out of pocket. It's a girl. I'm gonna have to come out. I'm still gonna come out of money.
Dad, I saved you money on the education.
Yeah, but so we can get this car. After this, we looking at cars. So. And so just it's just amazing. And the 16-year-old, she so it's Andrea's 18, Dory, she is 16, and she doesn't have all those superlatives and stuff, but she cool. Right. We gonna have to pay for college, but I love her.
But you raised those baby girls by yourself.
No, that'd be a cool story. It'd be if like it was a bunch.
I was gonna say,
no. If it was a bunch of women listening, I'd be like,
look, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Of course I did.
No, and I got it. What is it? The co-parenting thing. I was, I guess originally what you call it with the weekend warrior or whatever. Yeah. But my ex-wife and myself, we were very cool, so it was never about. The fourth, fifth was the second, fourth, and fifth weekend or whatever.
First, third, and fifth weekend. I remember it well.
Well, no, so watch this.
Oh my God, those are the only days I had freedom because I did raise my kids as a single dad.
Okay,
and I every time, and then she had the nerve on the weekends that was supposed to be where she took the kids. Mm-hmm. Hey, would you mind keeping them this weekend? I got some stuff going on. I'm like, no, come pick them up.
Come get your.
They're gonna go with. Anyway, so,
but no, it was. Me and my ex-wife but it wasn't we didn't stick to those days. It was just whenever we wanted to see each other, we saw each other, and it's never a problem.
That's beautiful.
And then with her, being single mom, with her having most of the week and all that, she welcomes a break.
Yeah.
So every time I call, I'm like, hey, I'm gonna pick up the girl.
Okay.
I'm having sitting in the driveway.
Right.
You know what, man? If everybody did that, that's proof positive that co-parenting works.
Right.
It works. And typically speaking, what happens is a parent checks out. So if it's the woman's fault, if we're talking fault, and I'm putting those in big quotations, then technically she weaponizes the children against the father. That is uncool. If anybody's doing that, please don't do that. That is so uncool because in your children's eyes, daddy's still a hero.
Right.
Don't ruin that.
Right.
Them.
Yeah.
And then if it's the man's fault, he just checked out. He's a jerk, and he laid his seed, and he's going off to the next game. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Because that is part of a direct correlation between incarceration and non-incarceration. Young men that did not have fathers are statistically, I think it's like 75% greater likelihood. That is astounding. So while we are talking about Black lives and we are looking at social reform, we gotta start from home. And so I celebrate you, man, for having those little girls doing what they do.
And I want to say too, and it's weird because things happen in people's life that affect them differently. My father wasn't around at all. But that drove me, it didn't make me like, oh, mine wasn't around, so I'm not going to be around. That drove me to be.
Right. It's the opposite of that.
Yeah. And then you have a little human that looks and acts just like you. My oldest daughter, it's weird. It's like an Adam Bob Jr., but she's a girl.
Okay.
She looks.
Okay.
How can I not take care of that?
Like, how could you see, something that is you, a part of you, and be gone?
Yeah.
I don't know. Let me ask my father.
Right.
So what happened with your dad? Was he your hero? Was he a rock star?
Bring out the tissue. This
This is gonna be interesting.
Don't do that. The punchline was there. You're gonna not say it?
Hey, this is called The Edge. So I want you to push that envelope. Just don't drop the F-bomb again. So what about you? What was your...
Backstory. I will say that I understand the overcorrection with your father being out of the picture, so now you want to do whatever it takes to be in the picture. Because like I don't have any kids, but I see that overcorrection in myself with my nieces and my nephew. Like my father wasn't around. My brother is around for his kids,
right.
And I try to be around as much as I can for them. And I see like sometimes here's an example. My brother and his now ex-wife, they're fine, but they're terrible with money. They're just awful with money. Just and like if a kid is terrible with money early on, they're probably gonna stay terrible with money forever. If you can fix that early on, good job.
Harris is also in finance, you guys.
I'm in finance. I'm in finance, and I grew up poor, so I don't want anyone else to be poor, and I don't want to be poor. So yeah. So I was like, I don't want my brother's kids to be poor, and like so Eid came around, which is a holiday like Christmas, except instead of getting like presents, we get money. Okay. So my brother's kids all got cash. Okay. And the middle child had $70 that she accumulated, and I was like, you want to keep that or do you want to invest it? I was just like, talk to her. Right. And I was like, you can either keep it now or you can give it to me, and on your birthday, I'll give you $100 bill. Right. So this is a win for her. She waits about 40 days, gets $30. Pretty good investment for her, right? So it takes me a while, but I finally convinced her to do it. Here's the thing. I've already continued talking to her, and I have no intention of giving her money. Not because I'm going to keep it. No, not that. I'm going to get her to continue investing it every single time it comes up. So like her birthday is next week. What am I going to do?
You're going to say, I'm going to say it and get $150.
Correct. I'm going to say, if you wait till Christmas, I'll double it. And then she's going to say, well, that sounds amazing. There's nothing I want to buy anyways.
But what if she says, no,
I want my.
So here's the thing. I got her younger sister, my other niece, also involved. She's also investing in the Bank of Harris. The reason I'm doing this is because I'm definitely going to lose money on this. I don't care though. It's to my nieces.
It's a lesson. You're going to gain money.
The lesson you're teaching is awesome.
It's worth it because like if I can convince one of them to continue this for years, then they're going to have thousands of dollars. And if I'm very lucky, then I'll be able to convince them to hold on to it until they're 16 or something. And then they'll be able to purchase their own freaking car.
Yes. One woman saved her tax return. I read an article. One woman saved her tax returns for like 10 years. And bought her house with her. She just did not spend a dime of her tax return.
So people.
I spend mine every time.
So what you're implementing inadvertently, and you may or may not have heard of it because it was way before your time, is a test they did back in the 1970s.
The patience one.
They called it the marshmallow test. And the marshmallow test was where they got kids and they said, you got excited. All right. Sorry, I'm
a nerd. I don't know. I'm sorry, I'm a nerd.
I like that. I like it. Yeah.
Which actually means I failed the test. But go on.
But yeah, because you wanted instant gratification, which is exactly the point.
The irony.
It was also ironic when you were the only guy that said you don't curse and then you drop the F-bomb.
Not bad.
So I already see irony here.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You don't realize that the radars are always up, right? just so you know, I wrote a book on this. Right. So, but what was interesting was that in the marshmallow test, you had people, young 6-year-olds, 5-year-olds, where they said, if you can have a marshmallow right now, and the kids all love marshmallows, Or if you wait for an hour, I'm going to give you 5 marshmallows. So that was the key. The kids that waited 1 hour for the 5 marshmallows, they had a higher probability of becoming rich than the kids that did not. And it actually proved to be true. They tracked these kids. And by the 90s, these were millionaires, these kids, because they understood delayed gratification, which is unfortunately endemic in our communities. Instant gratification.
Are we giving our kids marshmallows as soon as I'm giving mine? Mine is 20 years old.
I was about to say, I think it's too late. If I put one marshmallow out, I promise you, my 6-year-old, she just gonna find the bag.
Exactly.
But I like the way you taught that because that is a life lesson right there, man. That's beautiful.
Yeah, because and the other thing is I say their parents do a terrible job of raising them. Hypothetically, I'm just saying hypothetically. Let's just look at the worst case scenario. Why not? They do a terrible job, right? They would still have this lump sum of cash that, for instance, they could buy a car with or do whatever the heck they want.
Right.
You know, and that. I wish I had that when I was 16, 18. Because when I was 18, I was like, well, I don't have any options. I guess I'm going to college because that's all there is. Yeah. I didn't go to college because that's what I wanted to do. I went to college because that's what everyone else did and I had nothing else to do.
Yeah.
So it's I want them to be do something else if you want.
Well, guys, and you're a parent. Well, the three of us, I guess, would say are parents. And the biggest tragedy in schools today is that it is not really preparing anyone for true success. Because if it was, it would teach financial literacy. It would teach credit and credit management and building. It would teach strategies for entrepreneurship.
Yes.
There is no room for independent thinking in the school system. And that's what it is. It's a system. And the system is designed to condition people a certain way. It started back in the Industrial Revolution when they decided that they wanted people to punch clocks and work on assembly lines. And as a result of that, they implemented, notice when you're a kid, you sit in a row, the bell rings at a certain time, you eat, all of that seems to be structured.
Assembly line.
But wouldn't it be interesting if you sat in circles with kids? And wouldn't it be interesting if you said, you have the ability to memorize songs right away. Let's listen to your voice and see what we can do with that. And then, oh man, so I'm gonna pick on the Pakistani guy. You're an engineer.
Wow, close.
Right. I do something else with math.
Yeah, exactly. It's mathematical, it's numerical. But that's my point. Every one of us have a skill set, and we've got to, if we just operated inside that skill set, and if we started training our children, and there's a young man appears on our show weekly. This kid's a prodigy. I mean, he has helped me in amazing ways. He was just here yesterday.
Okay.
And he was going to be an astrophysicist. I mean, his parents homeschooled this young man. How old? And both the parents, right now he's 27. He's exactly your age. But the only reason he didn't,
not an
the only reason he didn't end up doing that was because they went down to South America and he contracted a virus that causes some headaches and stuff.
Oh man.
So but the kid's a genius. I recognized it immediately, and we've formed a real connection. And I can tell you there is a lot of that if you find the right connection with your kid. That creativity, man, it blossoms, and you'll build that. Right. But before we go out for a break, I just want to acknowledge an appreciation for parents that are out there that are doing it, because we have to make that our number one priority. If we are neglecting raising our kids, shame on us. I mean, seriously. Absolutely. So folks, you are listening to Edge Radio Network, 1540 AM, 101.7 FM. We're going to take a brief break. We are here with a potpourri of conversation. We're going to take a break. We'll be back in just a moment.
Edge Radio Network, where we have conscious conversation. Edge is about love, relationships, and healing.
Edge Radio is for everyone and about everyone.
Edge is about working together.
Edge Radio is about recreating a beautiful body.
Edge is about community, synergy, and empowerment.
Edge is about being kind, compassionate, and loving to all.
And Edge Radio is about beauty and fashion.
各位观众 ，Edge Radio 是大家最好听的一个电台，不要忘记听哦。Yeah, I love Edge Radio. You can hear all about the topic and join us soon.
Edge is about being on the edge and not jumping. Yes.
When people stop talking to each other, society is on the edge. Let's bring them back. Edge Radio, because truth still matters.
We work our whole lives to support our families. With one accident or illness, it can all be gone in an instant. Now there's a smart, affordable way to protect your family. Go to findhealthbenefits.com and discover low-cost life insurance for as little as $2 per month. Add to that a tax-deferred annuity that can help you protect your assets and grow your money for retirement. Learn more. Go to findhealthbenefits.com. or call 877-235-6094. A critical illness can strike without warning and wipe out your life savings. In fact, it's the #1 reason for bankruptcy. Find Health Benefits offers an affordable solution. Get up to $50,000 if you get cancer, stroke, or a heart attack, giving you the peace of mind to focus on getting better while the plan helps you to pay your bills and medical expenses. Learn more. Go to findhealthbenefits.com or call 877-235-6094. 66%.
And we are back. You are listening to the new Edge Radio here on 1540 AM, 101.7 FM. Those of you driving out there today, it's overcast. We have some occasional rain, but later this afternoon, it is going to start to get wet and slippery out there. So I want to encourage you guys, if you don't have to be out, I think it's going to go through the afternoon. It'll start tapering off, but it's about a 60-70% chance of rain, which in Houston means it will be raining. You know, when I first came to this city, and I used to hear like 30 or 40% chance of rain. I was with a company I used to do insurance. I drove all over the city. And you know what I started believing that meant was that 30% or 40% of the city is getting rained on. And it almost seemed to work that way. Like, I know that doesn't make sense, but I'm like, yeah, 40%. Yeah, if I go in this area, that 40% of the city is going to be raining. Right. And it almost inevitably worked that way. Right. So that was kind of weird.
Right.
So, yeah.
It's always just, it just rains out of the blue, torrential rain.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's Houston. So was there some culture shock for you, Harris, when you got here?
Not really. I was 5. So like, I didn't really.
You
I just showed up, and this is where you live now.
We're gonna have to take you back to our morning show last week or earlier this week. We were talking about something called a theta state. So I'm a health and wellness guy, right? So you go into a theta state from 0 to 6, really 0 to 5. That's when you're programmed. It's like where your subconscious mind is absorbing all this programming. So whatever you went through, you are imprinted from 0 to 6. Oh. So you may have more Pakistani in you if you start craving some curry or something. I actually love Pakistani food, and I'm a big fan of many things Pakistani and Indian, in all fairness.
So like, all right, this is tad bit. I just have to like break it to the world. all cultures have a lot of things going for them. We have the best food. I just have to. You know how good.
You've never been in New Orleans before.
Oh no, our food is better. I'm sorry. Oh yeah, I know that's a hot take for y'all, but it's the truth. It's the truth. All right, our food was so good that they created the Silk Road. Like just that's never happened for any other culture. Our food was so good they discovered the new world and still were like, let's go to India. You know, like. We're the best food.
So let me tell you. So let me tell you, I am a big fan of Indian and Pakistani foods, which are very similar, and the different curries, the different seasonings. Turmeric is used in a lot of different things. The rice. No, I happen to really love Indian and Pakistani food. I have a good Pakistani friend. We go hang out and eat.
There's the best restaurant in town, I think, is this place called Aga's. Is AGA. Apostrophe S. And
you own stock in this place.
I do not own stock. I don't have any family. I don't know anything about it.
There you go.
It's just the best. It's just my favorite place in town. It's just really good. And whenever like my friends are like, "Oh yeah, show me whatever," because now everyone wants to try it. And 10 years ago they didn't. But I'll just take them there because it's like the best.
Yeah.
It's great. And the way they run it is so efficient that I'm like,
well look,
wow.
you know, I will say one of the more fascinating conversations I had, this was some years ago, was with one of my friends who I'm going to have on the show. He's an intellectual guy. So we sit out, it's kind of, you know, if you're into cerebral conversation, that's how we roll. You know? And so we were talking about the different foods and the different strata. So every hemisphere, right? Just imagine the bands around the earth. It's the same climate in each hemisphere. Mm-hmm. So that means whether you're in Brazil or you're in the South Saharan, you know, Africa, whatever, if it's in that same hemisphere, it's going to be that same climate, right? Same season type of deal. So foods are consistently going to grow a certain way. So if you look, for an example, at curries, I love curries in my food. I tend to favor Jamaican curry. It's a little sweeter, it's a little less spicy, but I use Indian curries, and I love tandoori bread and a lot of different split peas, and you know, and how you make those things. And so if you really look at each strata of civilization, you'll see that there are Mediterranean diets in other parts of the world. There are, you know, so it's fascinating to look at food. And I while I'll agree with you, my dream, to some degree, let's not get carried away. I said to some degree.
I'll take the win. I'll take it. I'll take the W. That's fine. I took one for the whole culture. Let's go.
But you know what? This would be my dream restaurant. But maybe I'd be the only guy going to the damn thing. But just imagine if you could have, like, I love like sushi, right? So imagine if you could have sushi with a Mediterranean salad and then some chutney mango lentils, you know, like that would be awesome. Like, I love that eclectic kind. If you're down with me and you like long walks on the beach.
This is where we going. I'm gonna take you to have conversation.
So Adam, wait,
I was about to say it's gonna be you two brothers. Let y'all make it.
Yeah, so Adam, you must have had to cook a breakfast or two for your little baby girl.
Oh, yeah.
So what does that look like?
I got a little skill. No, it's you know, whatever they want. You know, if they want Frosted Flakes, if they want Fruity Pebbles, you know, I give it to you. You want 2% milk, whole milk, almond milk. I get all the flavors for them. Right? No, but anything that, you know, anything from omelets to homemade pancakes, waffles, and I ain't talking about the Bisquick add water, like, you know, homemade,
the actual real deal.
Yeah, you know,
so your grandma made it.
Because my mom was from Hattiesburg, Mississippi, so she knows how to make everything you can think of, and then she just kind of passed that down to me. And she always used to tell me, like, look, if you are gonna be out here, especially after I got divorced, she was like, you're gonna be a single man, you need to know how to cook, and you need to all this stuff. So. Yeah, so
you're the man.
I got it for him. Yeah,
wow.
Yeah.
Well, you talking about that breakfast. I hope you weren't using. Well, you probably did, like everybody else, use that Aunt Jemima syrup, huh?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I can't even lie and say I didn't.
Who didn't?
I wouldn't use that.
But you know, yesterday we had a real poignant moment in conversation. We were on the Cutting Edge show, and have you all seen that meme with the original model, if you will, the original lady that was Aunt Jemima, the picture that was taken that was original. They showed that original picture. Someone sent me the meme. And you see her smiling in the close-up. And that became the picture for the ad that they used. Because she was smiling wide like, yes, sir. Right? Then they zoomed out of the picture and they showed her, she had a stack of pancakes, and they showed her leg was chained to the stove.
What?
And she was smiling, but we were talking about that. I'll see if I can send you that meme. To be honest, it hurt my heart because she had the most beautiful smile. And the most beautiful energy. Like you felt her energy. And I get why they used her as the model, right? But imagine chaining a woman to a stove so she can keep making pancakes and not even take a break to go to the bathroom. That is barbaric.
And
Barbaric.
what's so crazy?
Craziest thing.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off at all.
Good.
I've seen the picture of the original model's face, and I didn't want to cut you off, and I was about to say, wow, it was a beautiful woman, this, that, and other, but I've never seen the entire picture, and that just threw me off.
Yeah. Well, that's part of why they're changing the Aunt Jemima brand. Here's my thing: if you already knew that was the case from the beginning, and you condoned it, and you inculcated it into the minds of millions, perhaps even billions if it's worldwide. And now all of a sudden, because you got caught, it's like, oh, my bad. Right, my bad. Now we're going to change Aunt Jemima and we're going to call her Aunt Susie. Right. Come on.
Well, because they want to make sure that
that we keep drinking their syrup. Their high fructose corn syrup.
That $black. And that's what it's.
Yeah, it's to keep us drinking high fructose corn syrup.
It's not good for us anyway.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah.
So what were you gonna say?
Oh, I was gonna bring up exactly what you said. Like it's so barbaric that they saw that and then they decided, let me crop out just this part.
Right.
That's insane to me. Right. Like that means someone made a conscious choice of that.
Yeah,
Well, look, I'm doing a video right now, and because I do different information style videos, right? And one of the things that I was going to start the premise with is just imagine a fish in water. Does a fish really know that he's in water? He won't. He won't know he's in water because that's all that's ever existed around him. Just like we don't always think about air, but it's around us, and if we don't have it for a minute or more, we will fall to the ground and die. But institutional racism is something that starts from the day you land on this planet. So my thing is, for people who are like, what's the big deal? You guys have been free for a while. I tell them that, look, there is such a interwoven fabric that you don't even know that there's the racism is happening. Everything from the poor, crappy textbooks. I live in the Klein School District. When my kids were young and they're in their early 20s now, they literally gave them these fancy schmancy flip top computer iPad things. I was like, wow, I didn't even know how to work it. And then I had a friend that was in the hood, and his kid came home and pulled a
battered book.
I couldn't believe it. The book looked like it was through World War II. I said, like "That's your textbook."
Right.
I could not believe that, and that showed my ignorance. So you want to talk about institutional? I would have been a product of that, thinking all these kids are getting computers.
And like you brought up before on another show, and I know you know the exact year that it happened, but when they start taking the vocations out of schools,
1970,
like right before. So I was born in 78, but I'm a licensed cosmetologist and have been since I was 19 years old. I'm 42. And so, to be able to take these vocations and get like a head start in life was very important to the Black community. They snatched that.
Yeah.
They snatched that. They snatched out art programs, you know, and things that the arts in general that that's changed, people's lives and things. You just have to just go through, English, math, social studies. That's it. And then they're going to teach you the wrong social studies and the wrong history. Yeah. It's disheartening. That disheartening is not even. It's heartbreaking.
Right, but the real reality of it is that it is interwoven it's baked in the cake. We don't see it. It's everywhere. And people that are listening that don't think it's everywhere, call in. Right, 281-587-1540. You bring it up, I'll tell you where it's woven in. 281-587-1540. It is woven in. Of course, if you have an example of where it might be woven, hidden in plain sight, that's the thing. Like all those statues of my younger brothers went to Robert E. Lee High School down here. I was like, Robert E. Lee, wasn't he one of the
worst slave owners that said to go hard on them? I mean, all these statues and all this, it's ridiculous. Take all of that stuff down. Yeah. Glorifying the wrong thing. And then you got Bubba, the NASCAR, the only black NASCAR.
Bubba Watson. Wallace, I'm sorry.
He sees this noose tied in the garage, and they're like, oh, well, that was there before. And someone was commenting on the article and saying, well, with the noose, it's the worst type of knot anyway. It's going to tighten up. That doesn't make sense. This is $1 billion company. Why would you just have these stupid ropes that in a garage that doesn't work? It's bull. That was a flat out noose. Yeah. But it was a message in that man's garage, and they know it because he was advocating for Black Lives Matter. He's black, and they wanted to send a message. And so the FBI has decided after the investigation that it was not a race.
Oh, of course they're going to decide that because that gets it pushed under the table. Right along with all the Confederate flags that are waving out there. But the other part I think that's really sad to me is that these young men that are being hung from trees around state capitals. What's up with that? I mean, what is that?
I'm sorry.
Please.
Because there was one that wasn't too far off 610 and Ella. It wasn't too far from here. But the thing that's disheartening to me about that is every last one is initially labeled as suicide. Like we're going to go back to that. I'm not saying, for your listeners, I'm not saying suicide's not real. Right. I'm not saying that at all. I'm not saying that African Americans don't commit suicide. I'm not saying that. But what we're not going to do is go back to that method. We're not going to
say, I got an idea. I want to end my life, and I'm going to do it by hanging myself from a tree. Why?
People hang themselves in their house typically.
Yeah.
Not outside.
But didn't George Floyd represent hope and change? Why would a black man all of a sudden, after demonstrating and getting support, want to hang himself from a tree?
Makes no sense.
What is that?
Yeah, it's this system, this everything. It angers me to a level I want to use words that you use. No, you're not gonna say. Fair enough. I'm messing with you, brother. But no, it's amazing to think that we're in 2020, and for all these years we're like, oh, we've come so far, and this, that, and other, and we had Barack Obama and all that, and this is where we're at.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right now, it's like we never took a step forward.
Right.
And we just wear better clothes.
And honestly, I don't think we as a society, the whole world has really moved forward at all. Slavery still exists today. It's freaking everywhere. Have you heard of this country called China? That's slavery in those workshops, and slavery in Dubai. I went to Dubai and I found out that what they do is they take single men from India, Pakistan, and Bangladesh, and they tell them, hey, in Dubai, we're going to get you a job, we're going to help you out, we're going to hook you up, right? So they sell this false dream. Then they bring them to Dubai, take their passports, make them live in terrible conditions, like 20 people in this small-ass apartment, And
you could say yes. You're
that's fair.
You're pissed right now, and you're teaching us. I did not know this existed. I thought Dubai was Shangri-La.
No, it's so terrible.
So what's
terrible? And so then they have all those buildings are constructed by these people whose passports have been taken away, and they have no way to return home. And these guys look just like me.
Yeah.
The only difference was when my parents decided to leave Pakistan, they came to America instead of Dubai.
Yeah.
Because had my father gone to Dubai instead, been like, oh, I'll bring the family later. Who knows?
Who knows?
Who knows?
Crazy.
Wow.
And it was
So
that
that's
simple.
like
The
labor
decision was that
trafficking, basically.
exactly.
It's labor trafficking.
Yes. And you know who else is involved in it?
Who?
The freaking president. Trump, the tower over there was built by those people.
Wow.
Yeah.
And people voted for him. I don't understand it. I really don't. Like, I keep thinking I'm in some kind of dream.
Look,
he's really our president.
Yeah. Well, the reality is that politics in general, it's heads of the same snake. Mm-hmm. I see people rallying on both sides, and there's so much centrifuge, so much muddled waters that you see. It's sad because it's really on both sides. You've got racist institutionalism on both sides. Mm-hmm. And anybody who's not seeing that, we've got to literally, the most brilliant strategy I heard on politics, and I'm just going to keep repeating it because maybe some of you guys will say, man, I'm going to share that with somebody, and I'm going to share that. Because it will unfortunately take an organized effort. Right. And I say unfortunate because Black people as a block are not organized. The difference between Black people and white people is that, and I know I'm stereotyping and I'm going with broad brushstrokes, but bear with me because I know I already pissed some of you off. What do you mean we're not organized? I'm talking about as a collective. I'm talking about as a mass, because every other ethnic group, including your people, you can go to Pakistani stores and see Pakistanis. You'll see some Indians. You guys, most people don't know that you guys don't always get along.
It's all the same to us, though. Actually,
but once you're here, you're cool, and you're like, hey, man, we all look alike. Right?
Close enough,
man. But let's stick together. Let's spend our money inside of our communities. Let's create institutions, places of worship, places of education, places of cultural enrichment. And all of those things is what leads to the cohesion of a people. And if every African American group were to stop being in tribes and become a single voting block, and then imagine, Adam, you are running for president. Imagine that I am the leader of this voting block, which, by the way, is controlling $1.3 trillion in spending. So corporations are now going to listen, right? Because Canada is right above us. You know what their GDP is? $1.7 trillion. They are just a few million, 100 million from the African American. So imagine that much stroke. That's the 11th largest economy on the planet. If I'm the leader of that group, I wish I were. Right. And you are, and let's just say that you are a candidate, a serious candidate in America. And I sat down with you and I said, let me tell you what I need for my people. Would you be willing to listen to me if I got you in office? And if you don't do what I'm asking, you sure won't get elected. And guess what? This tremendous press junket that we control is going to be poo-pooing on you.
And what's so crazy is, but that's what's going on right now with these parties right now, these candidates. But it's not our block. It's different blocks.
And it's working. That's why Trump is in office. because that strategy worked. So that was an electoral college that they constructed. It had nothing to do with the popular vote.
So let me ask you this. So I don't, you were talking about age earlier. I'm 45. I just turned 45 the other day. How old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm 57.
Okay, cool. I'm not the oldest.
Going on 26. Okay. Like you. 27. Yeah.
So my question to you is, because my whole life I've heard, and I'm sure you've heard, if we could just If we could just,
Yeah.
if we could just,
Yeah.
if we could just, if
Always
we could
hear
just.
it.
How do we do it?
Well, here's the thing. The first thing we do is we put our egos away, and we recognize smart ideas, and we subjugate ourselves to the idea rather than to the individual. Because a lot of times, if you look at Martin Luther King, he is arguably the most prolific and profound leader of our time.
But you can shoot a leader. That's the problem.
Right. I was alive.
That's the problem.
I was alive when in fact, I was born on January 15th, his birthday. I've always been compared to him. You know, I was born in Costa Rica, but when I came here, everyone said, "Oh, MLK, Martin Luther King Day." Well, here's the thing. Just like you just said, Harris, a leader can be killed, but who came? Who's the next notable leader after Malcolm X and Martin Luther King? Do you see anybody? Now, you could argue, well, Louis Farrakhan got a lot of stroke, but how many black people are against
But see, that's part of that separation, because it's like,
So the point is, we are still in tribes and not recognizing that the one thing that we actually have to do is understand that our strength is in our unity. And I watched in the hair business, I watched the Korean invasion of the hair business. When I was in it, I saw African American beauty supply owners everywhere. Today, I challenge you to find one. There's only one family that I know of that's still holding on, and they're barely holding on. And when I was in the business, I supported them. I was their number one customer. And so, you know, I say that to say that there has to be, man, a committed, unified effort where we vote in blocks, where we negotiate like every other political group has negotiated, and where we bring people in, like let's say we bring in Hispanic community, what do you guys need? We bring in the Indian community, the Pakistani community, and what do you guys need? Then guess what? That's what some of the ultra conservatives and far rights are scared of. But at the same time, I would say that the Democratic, now I'm gonna get off my soapbox, y'all got me all jacked up, but the Democrats, let's talk about those jokers, right? You look at what's happening in San Francisco, that is egregious. Shame on these homeless people everywhere, literally crap zones. They have poop zones for human defecation in a city I loved. And some of the liberal foolishness that's going on is ridiculous. You know, so we've got to have a balance. Because if you keep a people in welfare chains, and that's what it is, it's a welfare chain. You're going to give them a check every month, but guess what? If their daddy lives inside the house with you, you're not going to get that money anymore. So that daddy, you better be a single mama to get that money. What does that create?
You know what you just said? Oh God,
Go ahead, Adam. Go for it, man. Get me off my soapbox, brother.
No, I don't know. I think I'm about to add some fuel to the fire.
Go, man. It's the
add some soap.
It just, as you were saying that, it reminded me of reading the Willie Lynch letters, and with, you know, take out the word welfare, but basically take the dad out of the family, strip him of all his manhood, other things about that, boom, boom, boom. Make the woman raise the kid by themselves, make it them feel in their minds that they don't need this figure. It's the same thing, what you just said, and that was from legit, like what we called slavery to now that what we don't call slavery, but
what most people don't realize is there's actually a handbook on how to subjugate a people. It was written back in the 1700s, and it was later revised, but it was a handbook that was used to conquer China. And one of the things that you do is you destabilize, you use drugs. Remember the opium wars in China? The opium decimated this. China was always big. It was always bigger than England. It was decimated by that. Look at the American Indians. What are they hooked on? Alcohol, fire water. They everybody in the Indian community has diabetes. You know, and then look at the African American community. In the 1980s, they introduced crack. Crack was made in a test tube by a chemist. How many black chemists you know in Harlem or Watts? Okay, so I would say to you that it is systematic. It is in many ways purposeful. And when you're in the water, you don't know that you're in the water.
Fast food chains.
Yeah.
Fast food chains. They're a huge part of it. And we are dying based on just our diet.
Yep.
And that makes no sense where if you are poor, you can feed your kid with $3. But if you want to go get some organic fruits and things like that for the same kid, it's going to cost you more than $3.
Yep. Absolutely. Well, so that's the challenge. But we're going to take a break here. We're going to we start having this kind of conversation.
I got a question for you when we come back.
Ask the question right now.
Okay, real quick. Do you feel? Because someone asked me this question the other day. Do you feel that there's too many layers to because look, we're talking about fast food, we're talking about the government, we're talking about religion, we're talking about drugs, all this. Do you think it's too many layers to peel back to even get us to a point where we could truly rise? I'm done.
Wow. Okay. drop the mic. Okay, folks, that's a great question. You're listening to Edge Radio, and we're going to peel back the layers of the onion right here on the Edge Morning Show, 1540 AM, 101.7 FM. If you have a comment, 281-587-1540. Give us a call. We're going to take a break. We'll be back in just a moment.
This is Dr. Gabriel Arango with Arango Chiropractic Clinic, and today I'd like to inform you that doctors of chiropractic are primary contact healthcare providers who provide essential care, including but not limited to managing acute and urgent musculoskeletal condition. These services are critical for managing cases that otherwise could end up in the emergency rooms, worsening an already difficult situation. It is important to note that chiropractic services also keep in place health care providers, first responders, and others who have physically strenuous jobs that support critical infrastructure, such as truck drivers who continue to ensure that America's healthcare and food supplies get to where they are needed during the COVID-19 pandemic. This information was brought to you by Arango Chiropractic Clinic and Edge Radio, 1540 AM and 101.7 FM.
Clear Lake, Webster, Seabrook, we've got you covered.
KGBC, Galveston, Houston, 1540 AM, 101.7 FM, Pasadena.
A social distancing tip.
While the CDC urges you to avoid close contact, like hugging or shaking hands, there are other non-physical ways to say hello. Wave, wink, use sign language, salute, smile, give the peace sign, throw up an air high five, do jazz hands. Remember, stay a minimum of 6 feet or 2 arms length away from others, and stay home if you can. For more info, visit coronavirus.gov.
Let's all do our part, because we're all #AloneTogether. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Your greatest wealth is health. This health capsule is brought to you by Arango Chiropractic Clinic. The nervous system controls the function of every cell in our body, and as such, it controls every aspect of our lives. This is why maintaining a properly functioning nervous system is essential to a normal, healthy life. Because of its focus on the nervous system, chiropractic care can be a very important part of a wellness lifestyle. By restoring the integrity of the spine and nervous system with a safe and natural method of care, your doctor of chiropractic can help you live a more healthy, productive, and happy life. For the health of it, visit us at 1302 North Shepherd in the Heights, or visit our website, HoustonChiroClinic.com, or call us at 713-868-6166. 713-868-6166.
Good morning. You are listening to Edge Radio, the Morning Edge Show. And I am Tressa Ellaby with Oscar Hines, Adam Bob, and Harris Sayani. So when we left, Adam asked an amazing question.
Yes, it was amazing. Yes, it was.
Just ask that question one more time.
Wait, let's just sit in the aura of the question real quick. Okay. No, so we were talking about things that we could do as a world, as a society, to get where we need to be. And the question was, do you feel that there's too many layers at this point to even pull back, draw back, reconstruct, and put back together so that we can accomplish the goals that we need to accomplish? And we're talking about layers from politically, religiously, just the mind frame. Still some people being stuck, and I'll just say it, in a slave mentality. That the hood mentality, that's a whole nother layer of, you've got the folks in the, when I say like the hood, I'm talking like the real thugs that all they know is that. That's a whole nother layer. That's the question. What do y'all? It's your show, so I guess you should go first.
The layer is part of the design.
Right.
The layer is part, those what we call those multifactorial issues are interwoven in why we're where we are. It's the immersion in the water. So is there too many layers to peel back? I never think that's impossible, but I do believe that it's very, very challenging, because if you went in the economic space, you would see redlining, right? Where Black people couldn't get houses, loans in certain areas. Realtors, if they sold a Black person a home in a white community, they would lose their license. It was being institutionally enforced. And we all know about the bubble bursting in 2008. That was targeted subprime loans. That's your world, right? Targeted towards people of color. And so there's always been this systematic cluster, boop, right? And it's been that way forever. I really believe that the layers can be peeled back, but it's going to require that the guys in the hood, the brothers in the hood, somebody, gang leader, whatever, they lead that group. Whoever's voice those guys listen to, he has a seat at the table. And then we look at him and we say, can we get gangbangers to stop being gangbangers? Can we get them to bang with hammers? And can we take the money that we were redirecting into everyone else's community and create a institution like you see down in Bel Air? I watched, and those Houstonians that are watching, you will see this. Those of you in East Coast, you'll be able to relate to this in another area. But those of you who grew up here, you'll remember Bel Air. I remember Bel Air back in the 80s when I came here, and it was just empty, few Vietnamese people there. Drive down Bel Air now. You have huge banks. I'm talking about the quote unquote boat people that were coming from Phnom Penh, from Pol Pot. Pol Pot literally killed more people almost than Hitler. And most people don't know. That's why the Vietnamese were fleeing, because they were being slaughtered mercilessly. So you had all these boat people came here with nothing. Now you've got banks, schools, institutions, entire shopping centers. You've got a sub-economy. You've got Vietnamese representatives. That's organization. And it takes collective leadership to be able to do that. That's what's required in our community.
And we can do it.
Now, so they came over with that mentality, but it seems like, we've been here for hundreds and hundreds of years. Do you think like the gang, I hate to I'm not trying to just generalize like everyone's in the hoods in the gang or anything like that, but there is a sector of gang folks, people that are used to quick money, this, that, and other. How do you convince someone that's used to quick money to say, let's
invest in
what I would say to them
go with
is,
your method.
Look, you know what, man, I have two sons that are adults.
Right.
And I always told them that those shortcuts lead to long time, to going in. And that this system, and my son almost became a victim of it, not because he got in trouble, but because they were literally trying to pull him into something he didn't do. And I had to hire a freaking lawyer to get him off.
Wow.
They were trying to get that boy a record, even if, and it was by a huge institution. He used to work for Walmart, and they were accusing him of some stuff. And they were trying to, I'm telling you, I saw it. He didn't do anything. I looked him in the eye and I said, what are you doing? Some other kid that he knew that worked at Walmart was in the back electronics section, said he wanted an iPod. My son said, okay, let me ring it up. And the guy said, well, no, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to buy some more stuff. So I'll take this with me. I'll pay for it later. And then he left the counter and went to shop somewhere else. Somehow he got his hands on a plastic bag, a Walmart bag that he was just going to stick the stuff in. That's how he was. My son got pulled into that as a co-conspirator in this whole deal. And as I said, I had to hire a lawyer. So that was a classic example to me when I said, what evidence do you have? Do you have a video? So you're telling me that if somebody in the electronics department helps me and I give them the product, they have to pay for it in the electronics department. Is that what you're it didn't make any sense. So I would say this, that it's baked in the freaking cake. Mm-hmm. And we as parents have to school our children. We got to get them to understand that they have to shift. So I would tell those guys, one or two things are going to happen to you, gang leader, gang banger. You're going to die, or you're going to go to jail unless you change. Is that really what you want? Or do you just want to be relevant? See, if we really go into the core of anybody, even why you guys became comedians, and this is a stretch, but we are all in pursuit of relevance. We're all in pursuit of feeling like we matter. And if we boil down all the other centrifuge around us, that's really what it is. And those guys, they want respect. Mm-hmm. And they're like, hey man, you respect me, because maybe their daddy wasn't around and their stepdaddy slapped them around and told them about respect and hurt them. And man, I'm so sorry that those things happen. But it's a sickness that we have to, like a cancer, we have to root out, because those same men are warriors. Yeah. They're strong, they're smart, they're resourceful. Mm-hmm. What if they redirected their energy towards something constructive?
Because they look at it, it's a business. It's an illegal business.
Quick fix.
Yeah, and like you said, but to, like you were saying earlier, we need the leaders to come together so that we have leaders that are specific over certain layers that we're peeling off. But even not trusting each other, that is part of what's been indoctrinated in us in the first place. And that's why we're not like that. Mm-hmm. There's so many people of Black people that absolutely want to be millionaires, but they want to do it alone and not necessarily with other people, because it's about, well, I don't trust that person. They may take this or that for me. So it's really about, like Napoleon Hill, big Napoleon Hill person, read all his books, talked about, building a mastermind team, a mastermind group of people that you can trust, because it's not everybody. One person doesn't necessarily have to be the finance person or the marketing person. Those are different jobs and different hats that have to come together in order to make something work. And if we just understood that we have to unite, like you've been saying, in order to make something cohesive and build viable businesses, not just clubs. And I'm not saying all Black people just open clubs, but there are more things in clubs and restaurants. There's all kind of different businesses. And
it's about it's also about patronizing.
And that's a big, I brought that up last week, talked to so many people. They'll go to a Black owned place, and if they do one little thing wrong, or it could be something big, they're done.
Yeah.
I'm never going back to that place again. But how many times have you had issues with Walmart? How many times have you been to some chain place that didn't serve you properly, or is it that egregious that you just never?
But we're harder on our own kind, and I don't know if that's good or bad, but it is the reality of the situation. Right. And sorry, I actually disagree with the answer completely that you gave. I don't think we need to worry about it too much, because the generation behind me is so much kinder than the generation before me, that I think it's going to happen organically. Like you all have children. Would you say your children are kinder to each other or to their peers than y'all were maybe to each other growing up? Just growing up, were y'all meaner to each other than your kids today?
I mean,
because I will say, even I in middle school or high school or whatever,
but it goes
was meaner
just
today.
Being mean though,
I understand, but the youth, like my generation is significantly nicer than the generation before me, and I think the generation after me is so freaking kind to one another that I don't think systematic racism has a chance to survive. There's no way. These guys, no way. No, these guys. But it is here. I 100% agree.
They still are being brought up and taught by their parents of a different generation. It's still really them understanding and not taking on the thoughts and the teachings of their parents.
And they're not, because they're all marching in the streets.
Not
all, but there's definitely more younger people than older people, for sure.
So let's address this younger generation for a minute, because there's a couple I love you guys too. I have kids in your generation that grew up playing Mortal Kombat and shooting games. So there's a desensitization that has infected the last two generations, not just the Z, which is where you are, but the millennials.
Oh, I'm a millennial. I'm a Y. Let's get it right. But I do like Generation Z. They're great.
Put some respect on this name.
It's all good. So as a millennial, there's a desensitization. But here's the inherent problem, because I hear what you're saying, and to some degree, you're right in saying that there's a more liberal disposition for your generation. The inherent problem is that when you have an institutionalization of racism, when it is baked hard into the cake, it is foundational. That means that there's going to be an inherent advantage that I have if my skin is different than your skin. Correct. And you might be my best friend, and you just got that promotion, or you got into that company, or because you had the right last name. All of those things are baked in the cake so hard that, and I asked my kids this, it was a hypothetical, because they were arguing similar to what you're arguing. And I said, if you had an advantage over your peers, and that advantage gave you the ability to become rich faster, easier than they would you give that up just for the sake of equality?
No, I like wearing glasses.
Yeah. Oh, and you like driving a car, and you like everything that you have, and you're going to say, screw it. If they're going to give me the job over them, I'm going to take it. That's the problem with that theory.
I mean, I agree with that, and that obviously exists. That's why I'm kidding, but that's why I wear glasses. Like, I look significantly dumber without them, and I like looking intelligent.
You're a handsome guy.
It helps in interviews. It really does. I'd be
lying. There's a level of smartness, though. You do look slightly smarter.
Exactly.
With this. Yeah,
exactly. I'm totally cheating. But like those things matter, and I know those labels also matter, because like. I just don't see how, like, the generation, if my generation ends up getting those management jobs or whatever, or in charge of banks or these companies or whatever, there's no way I'm going to hire person X over person Y because person X has lighter skin or something. That there's no way that my generation would. Maybe not my whole generation, but a good percentage. Okay. I don't think that would happen.
I think it depends on who you hang out with. Mm-hmm. If you go to Port Dunk, Mississippi, those old boys out there,
that's fair.
They ain't trying to have nothing to do with you. Fair. Even you, because you have slick hair and an olive skin, they don't want anything to do with you.
Heck, go to Cleveland, Texas. You don't even have to go that far.
Like, I will say, I'm also very appreciative that I live in Houston, and I don't see these problems as much in Houston. Houston, most diverse city in the U.S. Right?
Yep.
I freaking love that title.
Yeah.
Love that title. We also have more restaurants per capita than any other city.
Yep.
I love that title too. Mm-hmm. And then on top of that, I went to U of H, which is the second most diverse school in the country. So I'm in the most diverse city, one of the most diverse schools, and then Klein Forest, where I went to high school, was the most diverse school at the time when I went there.
But it's Harris, like, you're also in one of the
I'm in a bubble, don't get me wrong.
Yeah, it shaped your experience.
In one of the most racist cities. But it may not necessarily affect you as much as it may affect me or him. You know what I mean? So it's still there. I mean, I just recently applied for an apartment and it was one price. I had another friend that was white apply for. I just wanted to see what was going to happen. They got a different price the same day. You know, and you can look up stories of stuff like that happening all the time. We just had a situation with a comic on Juneteenth, who said Happy Black Friday, all right, on Juneteenth, which that day is said to be when Black people were sold for sales price. Although if you Google it, it'll tell you something different, but we still deal with it. It's not the in-your-face racism all the time. It is the behind the scenes. And that whole incident was tripped out because when he was addressed off stage and the comic addressed it on stage, he went off in the green room. And so it escalated to something that almost was dangerous, you know.
I had left at that point.
But some people left. There were some people that left. There were some comics who refused to perform that night. And if in fact the place that it happened is looked to be complicit to it, that could cause black people not going there at all. So I'm saying it absolutely is here. It's not over. We're dealing with it. I understand what you're saying, but in certain places of the world, it like you said, Mississippi and Arkansas and you know, different places, or places where like Omaha, Nebraska, and Montana, where we're not, it's not a huge population of black people in Montana. So would I be able to just go and open up my business in Montana? Yeah. You know, which really we're but it's still this stigma about us in general, that we are dangerous and somehow that we do the most crimes. That's BS. That's not even true. That we're all on welfare, because we're not in Montana and those other places. Those people are on welfare. There's more white people on welfare. Yeah. But the overall you know, just
the narrative
about black people in general is so wrong, and it's been wrong since back in time, from what you learn in history. Just not understanding that we built this place.
There's a really good book.
Helped to build this place.
There's a really good book that I read in high school. It was The People's History of the United States by Howard Zinn, and he died in 2010 or something. But the book is history from the perspective of the losers. So instead of talking about how Columbus conquered the New World, it looks at it from the perspective of the people who were conquered. How Columbus raped them, how he killed them, and how he was terrible. And so the whole book is written that way. And dude, I'm so glad I read that in high school. It's so it just changes your perspective. It's what I'm being taught is not correct. And I think one thing that helped, and I think this comes back to, well, you grew up in Pakistan, it's a little different. Well, that still carries over today. And my mom, when she watches the news, she watches different news. And the news that I watch would be different as well. And the perspective has always been very different. So, it's always been hard to even trust the information that I'm getting, because I've always seen two perspectives, at least two perspectives. And then in school, I go and read about history, and then I find out, well, there's also two perspectives here.
Right. That's why they call it history, because it's his story. Whoever the conqueror is gets to shape the narrative. And one of the precursors in this, how do you decimate a civilization, you also take away their history. You know, so I used to talk to young children, talk about Timbuktu. You know, they would laugh. I heard of Timbuktu. Timbuktu was the greatest university in Africa on the planet. And it was a university teaching everything from archaeology and history and astrology, all sciences that were being taught when Europeans were still in caves. And so, including agriculture and so on, we see Egypt. Egypt was renamed. It was originally Kemet, which meant the land of the blacks. And if you look at most Egyptian monoliths, you will see people that look like us. And all of this is whitewashed, and it's consistently whitewashed, because that's part of the methodology of erasing a people's pride in themselves, because if they are stripped of their self-esteem, you don't have to tell them to go through the back door. They will seek it out themselves. And that's the pathology of the African American community. Now, I know, guys, we got a little deep.
My bad.
But let me back up. Let me catch my snap, okay? Because look, I like playing on both sides of the brain. You know, we got the right and left sides, right? But we got a lot to do.
Yeah.
We got a lot to do as a people. And one of the things that we want to do is educate folks. So I want to encourage you all to share this conversation we had today. I think it was a great conversation. I appreciate you guys' perspectives. You bring a fresh point of view, and also it helps to decimate some of the stereotypes that I think so many of us are, unfortunately just built into. So we gotta move away from that. But so guys, just before we wrap up here, I know we talked about you all professional comics in the space doing what you do on a regular basis. So tell us where you're going to be. How do folks connect with you? Give us that information.
All right, boom. Well, you can connect with me on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter. I'm hardly ever on Twitter though, because I don't really understand it. Yeah, I don't. But it's all under @AdamBobComedy. Anything which. It's all under @AdamBobComedy. You can catch me there. Excuse me, that wasn't COVID. Yeah, it's something else. Don't even worry about that. Anyway, my next show is actually, because I'm really just trying to build stuff up, coming back from this the quarantine and everything, is Tressa is part of running a brand new comedy club, which is called
Laugh Jones Comedy Club.
The Laugh Jones Comedy Club, and I will be there for 2 shows on July 12th.
Nice.
Yeah, so that I can't wait for that. I'm gonna. But I'm restrained to some minutes. Someone might go over one of them.
Wow.
I'm just letting you know now. The second show, I'm going over. I'm just letting. I'm just on accident though.
Right.
Okay,
you're gonna run the room.
All right, definitely though. I want to support Tressa and Keisha Hunt on their new endeavor on that club, and that's where I'll be on July 12th.
July 12th, awesome. How about you, Harris?
I have a show tomorrow at Rudyard's in Montrose. It's at 8:00, and you can hit me up for tickets on social media. On Instagram, I'm at A Life of Harris. That's Harris with 1 R, not 2. And let's see, the website for the show is theriothtx.com. And the show tomorrow is actually a really cool one because we have the winners of the last 3 funniest comic in Texas. So we have the 2017, 2018, and 2019 winners. Yeah, and and they're all gonna do 25, 30 minutes each. So man, it's gonna be a great show. Rudyard's just had their stage redone. It looks great.
Awesome.
Chappelle dropped in. Recently.
He did. He dropped in 2 months ago. No, he dropped in October. Yeah, and then he ended up doing those. Yeah.
Cool.
So it's going to be a lot of fun. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
It hurt my heart that I missed that.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
He did come to Secret. So I caught him at the Secret Group. Yeah.
Wow. That's really cool. Yeah. All right. Well, that's outstanding. We're about to wrap up here. It is Friday. Yeah. We want to wish everybody an amazing weekend. And if they want to get with the great Miss Tressa, how do they do that?
So www.tressaeleby.com. TRESSAELEBY. Catch me on there. Also at comedian, just the regular spelling of comedian, then TRESSA. I have shows at the Secret Group. Lady Bits has been going on for 2 years. It's July 18th at the Secret Group on Polk Street. And then Time to Shine is specifically a new show that I started. We're on volume 3. That's July 25th at the Secret Group. And it is showcasing comics that have been, that you should know, that deserve that stage time, specifically starting with Houston in Texas. Nice. And then I'm the booker for a Laugh Jones Comedy Club. So, you can get those tickets and Laugh Jones Comedy Club. Follow that on Instagram or comedian Keisha Hunt. July 5th is the first show. And every single Sunday, 7 and 9, it'll be 2 shows. And, if you're a comedian and you want to get booked, Laugh Jones Comedy Club at gmail.com.
All right. Cool. We are out of time, folks. We are going to be packing up for the weekend, and we will be back here on Monday with The Morning Edge. I hope you enjoyed our show. Share the information. It was good information today. I want to ask all of you to stay with us. We are going to have another new show joining the airwaves on the Edge Radio Network. We're going to be talking about the Global Sports Network. And after that, Athletes United is coming up next at 11 a.m. Athletes United with the great great Robert Reed, former Houston Rocket, as well as the amazing Mel Hewlett, who will be in-house today, mixing it up with us. So it's going to be a great lineup. Want to invite you to stay tuned to the Edge Radio Network. You can connect at edgeradionetwork.com, 1540 AM, 101.7 FM. Thank you for joining us. We'll be back here in just a few moments. Harris, Adam, and Tressa, you guys have a fabulous weekend.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. This is radio, by golly.
My golly.
This is former Rocket Robert Reed.
This is Mel Hewlett of Athletes United.
And we want to talk to you about our new program and podcast. We're talking about former athletes who are doing a lot of things in the community.
Various athletes in various sports. Swimming, track, soccer, football, baseball, you name it.
Former and current athletes here in the greater Houston area.
All promoting wellness, health. All promoting that which makes us all better.
Of Edge Radio, truth still matters.